Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the PH Journals podcast. It's been 12 days of a fantastic safari and I can't wait to catch you guys all up with it. I learned a lot. I'm being very fortunate in a very short space of time, 12 days, being able to keep learning in this beautiful industry that we have. I learned from one of the pioneers of the outfitter space as far as hunting is concerned. I learned a lot from a fellow PH. And I've learned a lot from my fellow hunters in a very short space of time. And that's the benefit of being able to do what I do, is carrying on learning and bettering myself in the hunting industry. So this week's episode of the podcast is jam-packed, catching up with all the tales and tribulations and wonderful success that we had on the podcast. A lot of near misses, but most importantly, a lot of fun. And then at the end of the podcast, I touch base on why I believe outfitters, professional hunters, and hunters are probably one of the wealthiest people on planet Earth today. So, stay tuned. Let's get into it. Well, guys, I've been trying to dissect this podcast a little bit. Doing individual podcasts is a challenge on its own, coming up with different topics and stuff. But I'm so fortunate that I still get to do what I love doing, and that's professional hunting for the good of conservation. So it always is pretty cool, and I'm always excited to get back into the podcasting chair and tell you guys about some of the things that I've taken away from a previous safari. Now, I've been in the freelancing outfitter stage for some time now, a little over 2 years. I've been a professional hunter for 15 years. And like I mentioned in the intro, I keep learning. I keep developing new skills that I thought I really didn't have or I wasn't attested to. And every safari has an opportunity for me to learn new things and better my skills, not only as a hunter, but as a professional hunter and as an outfitter, getting better opportunities out there in this beautiful country we have and the wonderful industry we have as well. So, with that being said, I'm going to start off with just dissecting what the whole safari was all about. So, Zach Parkman and his wonderful family, his mom, Kim Place, Maynard Place, his father, and then Brody Place, his brother, came out to South Africa on their very first safari adventure. Zach has been with us previously with his wife Lacey. We've got a whole YouTube episode on that. It was an incredible experience to be able to witness first timers to this country and absolutely fall in love with it, with every single part of them. Just really just took away a lot that I think us as professional hunters, outfitters, whoever it may be, we tend to take for granted a lot of the time. There were a lot of emotional experiences out there in the bush and moments that they get to take away and will live in their memory bank for a very, very long time. It was a hunt I held very close to my heart. Now, this is my 6th safari of the season, and this is probably one of the more special ones. And it was special in a way because a whole family came out and they embraced it. Part of hunting and part of professional hunting, one of the real reasons why I got into it was at a very young age, I shared a moment with my father out in the bush. And what I took from that was I took a moment, and that moment stuck with me forever. And it plays back on repeat every single time I get out into the bush. And I open up different opportunities for myself to relive those moments and relive and become a part of somebody else's moments now. And it's very, very special. And I think as professional hunters, that's one of the biggest lessons I can always teach. And I think I've learned over the years is appreciate those moments with family. I know they're not your family. They're not your immediate family. But those moments right there and then is something so incredibly special. You struggle to find words to explain it. There were a few moments, and myself and a good buddy of mine joined me on the safari, Wayne Dell. There were a few moments of the safari where there were literal tears in our eyes on how appreciative the family were to be able to harvest or hunt these specific species, but also just being out in the bush. And Kim, she had us in tears often. Her appreciation for the animals, and she came from a hunting background. And one of the things she said in a video, and I hope I get the opportunity to share it with everyone, was that she just wishes her father was there to share that moment with her. And that's something incredibly special. And I think it's those moments in life that we, as professional hunters, have taken for granted because we see it so often. And when I say this, I literally mean that. I think people come out into South Africa and they appreciate what we've overseen. And because we've been doing this for so long, and because we have become accustomed to this an abundance of moments, we tend to forget that these people are sharing it for the very first time. So I learned a lot in that. Like there's a story I always share on my podcast about Sharon and the hoopoe teaching me to appreciate the smaller things and stop, slow down, and really absorb what's around me. And fantastic. It was a fantastic experience. I had a good mate of mine, Wayne Dell, out there, and I learned a lot from him as well. I learned about different scenarios. His personality came into the hunt, and it really lightened everything up. I'll be honest, this hunt was a difficult one for me because prior to this, I had a lot of misfortunes. Of course, being a freelance outfitter, I wouldn't say people see you as a threat, but you are definitely a minor in the greater scheme of things, and overlooked in a lot of opportunities out there. And unfortunately, I had missed deals with Sable that fell flat mid-hunt. I had my tracker, he became PH Jeff, who had been with me for a number of years now. We knew each other inside out. He was initially meant to be on the hunt. He dropped me last minute. He's just gone completely MIA. I don't even know where he is. Things like that have just, and it kind of deflates you at times. But I think this is something that's so special, and I think I've always learned this in my life. Whenever there's these hard times, these hard periods in life, you've got people relying on you to deliver. So there's always a way. You've just got to keep pushing through it, and really just figure out what's going to be working best for you in different situations. And for me, at that time, was just really getting on board and sticking to the basics that I had learned over the years. And it was all worked out very, very well. Wayne came on. He was absolutely exceptional, like I've always known him to be. Funny story about Wayne is I think we met our very first safari. We hunted for the same outfitter, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from his Uncle Arnold. And on that hunt, we met some crazy characters, which we spoke about quite a bit regularly on this safari. And I think that's what's molded our personalities into this industry, hence why we've been able to guide successfully together, especially on safaris like this. So you build up these connections, and of course I had the very fortunate opportunity to meet Zwei for the first time. Those of you that don't know, head along to Wayne Dell's and African Brothers Safaris page. Go and check out Zwei's story. It's incredible. And what the man does with one leg is absolutely outstanding. And a big shout out to Mark Austin from Trees and Camo, who's fortunate enough to bring the leg over, and now everything's kind of falling into place. yeah, so I'm looking forward for that story to unravel. And if you guys would like to get involved, Wayne has got a Back a Buddy account there, so head along and try and donate as much as you possibly can. I know Tando Safaris and PH Journals will be doing something very, very special for him anytime soon. So yeah, just all in a nutshell, the safari kicked off and it fell into place and it went exceptionally well. And yeah, I really can't put anything to fault. However, there were some takeaways. What did I learn? Well, let's get into it. In front of me is an arrow. Now, let me tell you guys a quick story. So Zach came out last year with Lacey and he bought his bow out. Now, those of you that have hunted Africa before, there's no paperwork and all that hogwash. Yeah, big shout out. Sorry, before I carry on, big shout out to African Sky Safaris. They came in and they helped Zach and Brody on the importation, or not importation, but they helped with the permits and the paperwork for Brody's 300 Win Mag rifle. Brody had an absolutely flawless experience from the airport to East London, and where I picked him up, and then going back. It was absolutely outstanding. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank African Sky. Thank you so much for all the hard work you guys are putting and making our clients' experiences absolutely flawless. It's incredible. So, just wanted to mention that. Brody bought out his rifle. But anyway, so Zach decided, that we figured out on last year's safari that he was the exact same draw length as me. And although Zach is quite a little bit smaller than me in body structure, we realized we pull similar poundage on the bow. So I said to him, instead of bringing his bow case this year, why not we just do micro adjustments on my bow this side, and he can utilize it on some species that he desires to bow hunt, which in hindsight was good and kind of a bad thing. But a bad thing in a sense that we had complete equipment failure, and nothing to do with the bow and nothing to do with the arrow, but everything to do with the broadhead. Now, this is what I learned. From day one of being a bow hunter, I am not a mechanical broadhead shooter. I've never liked mechanicals. I've hunted with them twice. And if you guys go back on my YouTube episode, it was my Impala hunt 2 years ago. Now, I was hunting mechanicals, and the reason why I didn't enjoy them is because our grass is so long. 2 of the mechanicals nicked a tuft of grass, and they actually deployed before, and they hit the animal. They didn't even penetrate the animal. The arrow hit the animal skew. That's how much they deflected across, which is weird in a sense. I didn't think it would have that much deflection. But anyway, because of that scenario, and I know it might have just been a freak scenario, and I know it might have been a specific broadhead, but I've never been a mechanical broadhead shooter. I've never liked it since that, and I've always desired shooting fixed blade, specifically VPM. But there's a new product now I've just got from Archer's Edge. I'll check it out, and I'll tag it down below in the description. Incredible broadhead, three-tier broadhead is what I hunted my fellow deer with. So if you guys haven't yet, go and check that fellow deer episode out. And flies true. I've tuned my bow in for that specific broadhead, and I haven't had any issues. Anyway, Zach came out. He was given a couple of broadheads by a company in the States called Vortex. Now, I don't know too much about it, so I was hoping that I would have had his podcast I did with him on the last day of the safari out by now, so that he could share a little bit more light on it. I don't have too many details. All that I know is that it's a 2-blade with 2.5-inch cut-in diameter once opened, and then there's this little rubber band that's meant to stop the arrow from completely going through, from what I understand, from completely going through. So for a pass-through, the rubber band is meant to hold the arrow inside the animal, therefore doing as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible, ending that animal's life in a very ethical manner. Now, to the good part. We shot 2 animals. We shot 1 warthog, which unfortunately we lost. It's just part of hunting. But what had happened is we had figured out that on deployment, the arrow, the mechanical broadheads, had opened up too soon. So when they hit that warthog, that it was so far spread that it didn't have any kinetic energy to cut as deep as what it possibly could. And when I say that, we literally found very, very small droplets of blood. Extremely small droplets, which was a lost animal, unfortunately. So the arrow didn't deploy. Another thing we figured out, and this is the arrow from the Bontebok. So as you can see, I'm missing about 4 or 5 inches on the other end. No, not even, maybe less, 3.5 inches on the other end. This arrow went into the Bontebok. The rubber band did what it was intended to do, stop the arrow, broke off inside, and the broadhead fell and did a lot of damage, and the animal eventually died. When we picked that broadhead out, and I'll try and put an overlay on this podcast of the actual broadhead, the broadhead had completely twisted, and the blades, so the cutting diameter, which was meant to be 2.5 inches, you can see on the blades now, he's probably doing only a 1-inch cut, and it's not doing any damage at all. You can see how it's all bent and mangled and stuff. So I learned a lot, and again, just re-rectifying why I don't like mechanical broadheads. And so yeah, unfortunately, that was a little bit of a dampener on the safari. However, everything kind of worked out for the better, and we went on from there, and we just used the rifle, and it was a massive, massive success. So yeah, I took a lot away from that. It's not easy losing an animal, it really isn't. But in the same breath, it's all part of it, and I guess we've got to embrace even those losses. So for me, it was a little bit frustrating because I hate equipment failure. I've always been somebody that hates struggling, but yet it was something very, very special to be able to witness and then try and rectify it as much as possible. And walk away from it still having an extremely successful safari. So guys, I'm sorry, I'm sounding like I'm a little bit distracted here. Okay, so excuse me, still got a bit of a chest cold. It's a bit weird. Haven't been able to completely get my chest 100% ready for the summer season. Cool. So couple of things just to fill everyone in. I used a very special gear on the safari, and it's called the Olin phone scope. Now this is the case, and I will again try and insert an overlay on. So majority of the footage that we took of the kill shots, unfortunately we didn't have the camera crew out there this year on the safari, but majority of the footage we took on the kill shot was filmed from these guys. And I must say, it was incredible to utilize, and out there completely easy, plug and play scenario. And those of you that have hunted South Africa, hunted Africa, will know how intense it can get when opportunities present themselves. You've got to be quick on the draw and be able to take the opportunity. So these guys have developed a case that magnetically clips on to the spotting scope, and from there turns into a full-on HD camera. It was absolutely incredible with some of the footage that we took, and I was very, very fortunate. Maynard left this one behind for me to utilize for the rest of the season, and then hopefully on my next couple of adventures. So I'm very, very excited about this. This was a complete eye-opener. I've used phone scopes previously in the past, but it had a lot of adjustments that you had to do and wiggle your phone around and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, this was was effortless, and I really, really enjoyed this. So that is one of the good things I took away. And then some exciting news, those of you guys that haven't figured it out yet. MTN Ops, it's been official. We have been invited onto their affiliate program, which for me is a massive honor. We're talking guys like Eva Shockey, big names in the industry, all affiliated with MTN Ops. So Zach bought me out my sponsorship pack that I got from them, and I utilized it for the 12-day period. And what I utilized was the endurance and the hydration. And let me tell you guys something. For somebody who is a massive hydration fundi when it comes to hunting, because I always like to keep myself hydrated, I'm not very good with drinking water. But when I put these hydration sachets in there, it's like drinking cool drink out there, or soft drink for me. And they gave me a beautiful MTN Ops bottle. It's a couple of pints or gallons or whatever it is in ounces. And you just take it in the morning and the afternoon, and you stay hydrated for the period of the hunt. The endurance was awesome because it just gave me that spark of energy. A lot of the times when you're a freelance professional hunter or a freelance outfitter, you are late at night, constantly doing paperwork and trying to get into, trying to catch up with admin side of things. So oftentimes you go to bed late, you're waking up early, you feel a bit down, you feel a bit pup, especially like on day 8, 9 of the safari. You're just getting into that routine where your body feels just a little bit depleted. That endurance came in, boy, and it kicked in, and I was buzzing. I think that day specifically, we were hunting kudu, and we fortunately enough got a kudu. And just the raw emotion that came through, you could feel that your body was rejuvenated and running on high octane. So massive shout out to MTN Ops, guys. Thank you so much for the incredible opportunity. I can't wait to see where this goes, especially in a segment of the industry in South Africa that seems a little bit untouched, and has potential for massive amounts of growth. So once again, just thank you to everyone at MTN Ops. I can't thank you guys enough for the incredible opportunity, and looking forward for the future. So when I started this podcast, I said to you guys that hunters, professional hunters, outfitters, and are one of the wealthiest people in the world. Now, what do I mean by this? I learned something very, very special this last safari. In a modern day society where technology has overwhelmed us and depleted our not hormones, but depleted our mental energy, such as dopamine and all this sort of stuff, it's crashed everything that our bodies naturally produce. We're constantly looking for the next best hit on social media, constantly scrolling through our socials and trying to just keep our dopamine rush active. We've forgotten the true essence on why us as human beings need each other's interactions. And I got listening to a podcast where there was an AI expert on it. And he said something very, very important. He said in the next 8 to 12 years, anybody that has a business that has human interaction, emotion, feeling, and touch added to it will be extremely successful within the human race. When I heard that, I took a step back and I was like, is it possible? And John McHugh, Sean from Salt Lake Outdoors, a lot of guys have mentioned AI within the hunting industry, different ways and forms on how we can utilize AI to benefit outfitters, professional hunters, and hunters wanting to come over. But AI will never replace the ability for raw emotion out in nature. AI will never be able to replace a professional hunter on various amounts of things. If you look at it, in the bigger picture, in the greater scheme of things, even if there are a set of binoculars that can identify what is a trophy and what is not a trophy, you still need a professional hunter to take you through the paperwork. You still need a professional hunter to take you through all the taxidermy work. You still need a skinner to skin that animal. You still need somebody to treat that animal once the shot is. Who's going to help you load? How are you guys going to get things out? You still need people to come in and do your laundry, make your beds, feed you food. So the industry is not going anywhere for the foreseeable future. And that is why I believe hunters, professional hunters, and outfitters are some of the wealthiest people on planet Earth today. Not wealthy in a sense of currency, but wealthy in a sense of no one is out there, not AI, not anyone behind a keyboard is out there to take away our jobs, and they're never going to be. But we're also wealthy in a sense that we get to share beautiful moments with other human beings and have a sentimental and emotional connection with one another that can never be taken away. As long as we don't take those moments for granted, what we see, what we live for as a human race, emotional connections, human connections, physical touch, affection, all those sort of things can definitely be shared in a relationship with you, a professional hunter, an outfitter, and a hunter. No one can take that away. Because life at the end of the rainbow is all about moments. We can't take wealth with us. And we can only leave moments and memories behind for our loved ones to reminisce on all the good times. And for me, that is a value added thing that not AI can take away from us. And that is why I feel we are some of the wealthiest people out there. So guys, on that note, I'm going to close on this week's episode of the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for everyone with all the support. I see the views and the streams and the downloads and everything. It's just constantly ticking over, and I can't thank you guys enough for the incredible support. It really means a lot to me. And if you guys are listening to this podcast, please follow, like, and subscribe. I know it's a pain in the ass when you hear content creators but say all these things, but let me tell you something, it really and truly helps. So, like always, the season for South African hunters ends at the end of this month, so get your hunts in, guys. But like always, if you are, happy hunting. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay humble. We'll catch up with you guys soon.